go.
All right, how y'all doing? We're at In the Trenches Part 2 with the fellas. All right, how y'all doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How you doing over there, Kris?
I'm
Kyle?
doing well, man. I can't complain. Life is good. Been a great year, so I'm just happy to be back with some of my favorite people. So thank you.
For sure. Donovan, what's the news? What's the word on the street?
It's just a beautiful day here in Colorado.
Okay.
It's summer, bro. It's
Okay.
70 degrees in December.
Man, is it 70 degrees?
It was hot.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be 65 tomorrow. That's scary.
Oh, man.
Yeah, on the shortest day of the year. That's crazy.
Wild. That's wild. All right. So we out here in the trenches 2. Man, how y'all living? How's business over this last year?
Yeah, that would be, just to let people know, my name's Kyle Colley, co-founder of Bookem. Bookem is a social book club and book content creation app for people that want to host online book clubs. So things have been going well this year. We've been able to, I think last time we talked, we might have just launched. I think it was, because that was probably, January, February, just had launched. We're over about 1,000 users now. So
Okay.
we have
1,100, yep.
1,100, yep. And so we have
Daily
active users, monthly active users. We've had buying clubs. We have these I have a couple cool clubs that we can talk about, but everything has been, it's worked. It's we talk about on this podcast, but it's still trench warfare. You know what I'm saying? It's every day you're like, foot to pavement, right? But as far as things are going well. I can't complain.
And to add to that, I think through over time too, you just get more confident. We've all been in here. We've now known each other a couple of years now. So when we met, where our companies were and where they are today, and when we record next time, where they'll be then, it's all about steady growth, and that's what it is. It's like, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? What are your small wins? What are your big wins? And let them accumulate. Let them, continue to compound and go from there.
Absolutely. And I would say, too, sometimes, like, when you're in the trenches, oftentimes you don't even sometimes really even see the progress that you're making, even though you are making progress. That's why, for me, I think it is so important, to your point, to count those small wins and really at times take a step back and see, like, okay, I closed this deal, or I onboarded this client, or I released a new product feature, whatever the case may be. I know for us, man, it's just looking back in 2024, it's been quite a year. We've had about, I would say 2 to 3 podcasts. We've been at a variety of different other workshops, actually. Hosted our first workshop at Denver Startup Week.
All right. And let me say, it was awesome.
Hey,
Great
let's
event.
go.
Great event.
It was great working with our coaches, our financial coaches, as well as seeing an audience of people show up. It was really great, and executing the mission of WalletGyde and financial education and empowerment. So that was exciting, as well as really making progress in our product features and our product development. So, and I'm sure we'll dive deeper in as well, but managing the team, with us.
Interns?
We work with interns.
Interns
I was
included?
getting ready to say, we work with interns, so they come and go. So you got to manage that constant flow, right?
Turnover.
How do you manage it?
Look, so it's interesting, man, because it's like a mindset, right, that I've given myself, and I've realized, now, our goal is to, of course, provide the experience for the interns, right? But with an understanding that, look, they're going to be coming in and they're going to be leaving, and sometimes they might not even last, the full on, term, and it is what it is. But I don't know. Somewhere down the line, I just understood, hey, this is a numbers game.
Yeah.
And I'm working with, I'm going to have to mentally prepare myself to go through as many numbers of interns as I need to.
That's a good question. Yeah, because even with you, Donovan, when you do your company, how do you all think about, team and building and all that? Because, you have people that come and go. So it'd be interesting to hear how you think about it, too.
Yeah, because we have substitute teachers in 3 different cities, Dallas, South Bend, Indiana, as well as Detroit. And it's 100 different substitute teachers, and it's all about being accessible and communicating correctly the vision and the plan for Mili Llama. We just wrapped up our first semester in those 3 different cities. Whirlwind, a lot of different learning, some wins, some losses, but managing a dispersed team as we see it is just all about being accessible, communicating what's going on. We stay in constant communication, whether it's through email updates, text message updates. We want to make sure our substitute teachers know who I am, who my co-founder Josh are. And as we grow, we want to continue to onboard and meet every single substitute teacher so they continue to hear our mission and continue on with the company.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So with that being said, how would you guys say your understanding of your business has evolved over this year, or has it at all?
You know, I would say when we first started Mili Llama, our whole idea was to give college students the opportunity to give back to their local community as well as make some extra money on the side. We found out due to some outside factors that people are looking for more constant work, not so much part-time jobs, as well as people in the community are willing to become substitute teachers as well. We initially started with just college students, but now we have grandparents on our platform, retired teachers, because our students need the support, and we're not going to deprive these different individuals from providing that support. So we have evolved to a more community-based and college students as substitute teachers.
I think that's spot on. And same goes for me. I have a similar answer. Just letting the market change how you're looking at your own company. Obviously, you have a vision and what you want to execute and what you want it to become. And my second one is just the language and learning how to talk to your customers. But seeing that, like, okay, we want to have this feature or this type of video, or like I think people are use it this way, and then you see them use it in a different, at least for us, since it's a platform, like how they're using it is not what I always intended it, but it's like they're working, and that's what's happening when you create like a social platform that we've done. And the goal for it is to become a living organism. It stands on its own. And we're just in that flywheel stage, you know. And so from that, just learning to hear, you know, like you said, you have grandparents. You started at one spot, now you're over here. That's similar how we are, just like watching all these people come on and interact within their own way.
And I would say when it comes to making network effects, you have to beat the cold start, right? You just can't expect people, you can't open the door and expect people just to show up.
Right.
So even with us, we talked a little bit about this, but podcasting and just all those things kind of work because they become your content house, right?
Sure.
You become a media company as much as you become obviously we're a social media company, but you have to put out this really great content. So whether it's talking to authors and then getting those authors to bring their people on and do clubs, all of that's kind of facilitated in ways I don't know if at the beginning of the year I knew I was going to be, right? I didn't know I needed to be like Kyle, not only the founder, but Kyle, the creator founder, right? I think that's the thing that's becoming more present. You also have to be a creator in this economy that allows your company to grow into the ability where it can go.
I like that. Honestly, as I look at 2024, I mean, as far as like, you know, understanding my business's purpose, I wouldn't say the purpose has evolved in terms of our mission. Our mission is always the same, which is financial empowerment and, you know, providing people to financial resources. So that hasn't evolved. However, the approach, you know, I would say one of the most exciting approach that and I'm sure we're going to dabble into that a little later, is AI, you know. So, you know, the mission has always been able to provide young professionals with financial coaches, you know, be that platform, be that marketplace, right, to do that. But I would say the approach that's evolved is how now we're really focused on AI and how can AI actually facilitate that process? How could we actually implement virtual AI to actually help both the clients and financial coaches? So these are, I would say, exciting evolutions of our approach, but the purpose is always the same, which is financial education.
Can I add another one? Is
Absolutely.
marketing. I think a big one for me since we last spoke, since we were last in this room talking in this manner, is how marketing and the conversations you're having with your audience and with your customers, it's like, what are you saying that you're not saying? You know, especially when you got to build an identity. It's like our people who use Bookem are these type of person, and that's who we're talking to. But you're saying words that they grasp, but then they act upon it because they're like, oh, that they see me, I am that person. And I think that is so crazy. And I've always liked marketing, and I think that's another thing is how do you get out? How do you get these products out? Like, what's your distribution model?
Right.
Like, how are people learning about Mili Llama?
Your
How are they
personal
learning about
brand.
WalletGyde? Exactly.
Your personal. One thing I love about Bookem, when we first started our partnership, and I say partnership, more friendship,
Right.
2 years ago, they didn't have a personal brand when it came to Bookem. Now you look at the room, man, I love these hats. I love the swag because you are your personal brand. No one's going to represent Bookem. No one's going to represent
Merch.
WalletGyde. No one's going to represent Mili Llama more than you as your personal brand.
You should
have
make
to represent
wallets,
your brand.
like actual wallets. I would get one.
Yeah.
That
Like
say wallet.
like
If
a
anything,
like a
like
Toonie
a-
wallet, but it's
like a digital
WalletGyde.
too, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll
Hey,
do a digital wallet.
You know what I'm
On
saying?
On the
You saying?
Apple
Like
Card,
a
you can
token?
make those Apple. Oh, you
That'd be
trying to
kinda
go?
cool.
Never
You trying to get me with the beef?
Hold on,
I know.
man.
I know.
I thought you were talking about like a digital card. Come on.
I
Man.
mean, like you can get into a little.
He's
bit of
gonna
crypto.
disappear like the Hawk Tour, girl.
I know, he's gonna disappear.
Make a couple M's and bounce.
Yeah, I'd say last part on the marketing though is like marketing is about marketing your values, right?
Yeah.
Because you're only gonna get so many people to hear, and especially Steve Jobs said this, but even like now it's even crazier because you're competing with Netflix, you're competing with Apple, you're competing with all these things that people otherwise can be doing.
Right.
There's movies that come out now that get no one to show up to them, right? So when you do marketing, you have to over and over say what you want, and again, you're not marketing to a standing army. You're marketing to a moving parade, right?
Sure.
So people can continue to see the same content if it's really great. That's why you see sometimes on commercials, like M&M's, right, run the same commercial every Christmas.
Corona.
Because they know that commercial hits. It hits the zeitgeist. Same thing with a really good piece of content on the internet. You might be like, oh, this, like, for example, it over-indexed, right? So you might be putting up reels all the time.
Sure.
And one reel might do 10K. And you're like, wow, how'd that work, right? You double down on that piece of content, and that grows your brand in different ways.
Yeah, I know, and even to add on to that, in addition to the marketing, is understanding the algorithms, right, of the platforms we're marketing on, and that's if there's anything that I've really gotten a little bit of insights is that, right, talking to ChatGPT, right, and having it like help me map out like what's Instagram's algorithm, right, what's TikTok's, what's Facebook, that sort of deal. So, that I would say is one of the things that we've been doing it with our team, with our marketing team. And really now, as a result, we've now looked to start creating shorts with YouTube Shorts, TikTok, understanding the time lengths, right? Taking what we normally used to do with our videos that is like 4 minutes long or 3 minutes long on YouTube, cutting it into 50 seconds, 30 seconds on TikTok, and literally, essentially repurposing and curating those long tail video clips into short tail TikTok clips that can, hit the algorithms that can get you viral. So I think it's like understanding those strategies that, and the cool thing about even a strategy like that is you're not even making new content. You can literally take your long tail content and cut it down and then repurpose it in shorts and TikTok strategies. I would say this is actually going to be one of our key strategies in 2025. And then on top of that, knowing all the AI, video producing tools that you can start now capitalize on that can create content for days, then come on, like now there's no excuse to get that market presence, right? So I mean, I'm sure you guys. I'll be seeing you guys out there doing your thing too.
It's literally all about attacking their day. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned of it, Kyle, where you could go to the beach. You can watch this Tom Cruise movie over and again. It's like, but I'm gonna check this app. I'm gonna check my WalletGyde. I'm gonna see what's going on. Like when you're at school, like how are you in there at school? Like how are you attacking and becoming top of mind, Sorry, before we move on, there's this story. I remember we did like this leadership program a few years ago, and there was like 13 and 19-year-olds. We're getting them into entrepreneurship, and I looked around the room and I was like, I'd rather be Phil Knight, where the brand is there, very viable and very seen, very prominent. However, I went around the room and I asked about about 14 kids, all between those ages. Who's Phil Knight? And they said, not a hand went up. And I looked at every single one of them. Each one of them was wearing some form of Nike clothing. Every single one of them. I was like, that's what we want to be. Like, how did you get into their daily life that they have a status increase, that that they are cooler because they're associated with your company, with your brand, and they don't even know who you are.
And that's back to market and values because, again, Nike honors great athletes. Like, that's literally what they do. So you feel like when you wear Nike, you're an athlete, you're high performing. There's something that says it about you. Like when you wear Nike, you have a certain personality.
Absolutely. And actually, I want to add on to that too. That's the power of the acronym is called ICP. I'm sure you have probably now. Don't even ask me to actually say it, but I know it's ICP. But what it really means is user personas, right? So these massive multinational corporations, what they're really good at is to your point, I think one of y'all said it, they know exactly who their target audience are. So in addition to what we were talking about marketing, I'm not saying I'm a marketing expert, but I would say if you want to get really good at marketing, it first starts with hopefully you got a really good understanding of your user personas, right? And to your point, because then whether they know who you are or not, the company, Phil Knight, the owner, he's going to know how to market to you. He's going to then know the messaging tactics, all these things, because they've done research on that individual, on that customer. So I think these are things that I always look at too with WalletGyde, really understanding our target audience, understanding that even within the user side or the client side of WalletGyde, because we have the clients and the coach, but there are different types of clients, right? So there are clients, we look at our user personas as there's W-2 clients, people that only work at, 9-to-5s. There's, 1099 clients, you got your gig workers, right? And then you got hybrids, right? You got people that are doing both. So, and then knowing how to message to those people, right? And then knowing the coaches, there's a whole other side of coaches as well. There's different types of coaches. There's coaches that work independently. There's coaches that work at different organizations. There's coaches that work for corporations, right? So, and once you know that depth, and then you can map out a messaging strategy around that, then implementing all those other tricks and tactics and all those things that we talked about. I feel like that's when it can get really useful once you start from understanding your user personas, right?
But you have to realize and understand that your ICP can change constantly. One day your user is, like I said, as a college student, and next our user are retired teachers, parents, and we're going after those individuals as well. You must understand your user, that ICP, but if you're not willing to adapt with them, learn with them, because the users of our parents, our grandparents of the 70s, when Nike started, aren't the kids of today. They are definitely not the kids of today wearing Nike.
That's a great point, because you even think about something like Starbucks. I think who their user base was in 90s, early 2000s is way different than it is now. You can know exactly what a Starbucks drinker looks like when you walk through 100 people, like boom, 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 boom. But it's changed. You know what I mean? It used to be like different business. It used to be very business focused. It's changed. It used to be celebrity. I'm like huge celebrity. And your business does form and change over time.
And I think
to the user base.
To both of those points is that's when you got to know who you are as a company.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it.
Because the founder, a founder is the guardian of the company's soul. Like at the end of the day, the founder tells the company what it has to be. And I know we've been talking about some of the same people over and over again, but if you think about it, Apple was losing its way until Steve came back, right? And it was largely because of the founder putting in what the soul was, what we believe in everything we've been talking about.
You can make a case it's lost its way again.
Again,
that's neither here nor there.
Look at Alexa.
She's listening.
She missed the boat. ChatGPT.
We're talking about
the
AI.
voice. Voice. She should have been the leading.
Alexa is so far. I mean, Siri is so far behind.
Or Siri. Excuse me.
Siri. But even Alexa to an extent too. They're so far behind where ChatGPT is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm sure if Steve Jobs was around, he
never
probably
let that happen.
Yeah. So honestly, we're actually at a really good point here too. So with that being said, let's talk about like a moment that we had this year when we felt like we were most aligned with our mission. And I'll start with mine, because as I mentioned, one of the most exciting things that I felt like we've done in 2024 was hosting that financial workshop. And what's really interesting about, hosting that workshop is we never saw, with WalletGyde, I never saw that, hosting workshops was actually going to be part of the business model. It was just really more of like a channel, a distribution channel, right, of getting the word out there. But turns out, first of all, once I did it, I was like, first of all, this is actually pretty cool. I was like, being able to, be on a panel and speak about, what you believe in, it was really cool. But then I also realized, like, this could be another business model. And the amount of experts that we can start drawing into was something really exciting. But I would say most importantly, the fact that we had the opportunity in a workshop setting, and I'll say we created a safe space where our audience, our people, our demographics, our customers can really have a conversation. They can have a dialogue with coaches, with experts. So that, as I was in that room experiencing that experience that we created, I was like, yo, this is exactly the mission of WalletGyde. And so in terms of, how I felt most aligned this year, I would say that experience really not only made us really aligned, but also opened up another, I would say, avenue of a business model for WalletGyde.
Yeah, I would say that's beautiful, because I love it when a plan comes together.
Right.
When we went to this book exchange, and I'll let Kyle plug it, but we went to a book exchange. So effectively what it was in a coffee shop, or it was a bar. And you could walk in with a book that you brought, put it on the table, and everyone just kind of goes around and like picks up books that may be interested in them. And we were talking to the founder of it, and just like, how can we, work together, just still teasing out some ideas currently. But then she made mention, she's like, yeah, we started this in 2021, just me and my friends doing this in Washington Park.
Nice.
Just something, chill, relaxed. And she said, been doing this every year, and then this was our biggest year. And it's like someone posted about it on whatever platform, and it's grown. And it was packed house. It was super packed. We were like, congratulations on that. And then when she said that, I was like, Bookham is on its way. And
nice.
to answer the question, I felt like it's in its line, because we're talking and doing the right things to the right people, that if you just stay in it, keep growing, that one message, we're ready for that text message. For that tweet. You know what I mean? For that, whatever you want to do, that for that post, we're ready for it, because it's the infrastructure's in place, and all you need is a push, and I'm sure you're in a similar space.
Man, y'all be hitting me. I just like listening to y'all stories. I just sit back and I forget I'm a part of the podcast because I'm literally just sitting back and just enjoying it. I like to listen to podcasts. I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and I feel like I'm at a podcast watching y'all, and I shouldn't even be here because, man, it's just such good information that y'all are saying.
Some inception.
No. So, when have you felt the most aligned with your purpose? With your company this year?
Yeah, so I would say when Josh and I, who's my co-founder, we had the opportunity to go visit our school partners in Detroit, Dallas, and South Bend for about 2 weeks back in October. And that gave us the opportunity to sub in the classroom, see our point of view of our substitute teachers with the different children that they're interacting with, understanding our school partners' point of view and getting their feedback, ensuring that we're putting the right students, the right parents in front of their children, so we're solving their needs. But it also gave us the biggest opportunity to see what our technology is capable of.
Nice.
I would say our biggest angst of this semester is realizing that we have some challenges with our technology, and as we go into 2025, one thing that we are going to hone in on is doing a rebrand and a rebuild of that technology so we can continue to service our customers.
That's what's up.
That's a really great point, because I think, so you build a great team, you build the tech, everything's there, and now you're just like, all right, will this break when we have 2,000 people here, 4,000 people? You just don't know. Like, it's the craziest thing. It's like, you know your company is sick, you know you have a great team, and then when you get flooded with the market, you're just like, all right, pray that this works. And to your point, it goes into what you're saying. Like, my thing that I was like, wow, we've hit something unique is that I read this book. My cousin, who's also a big reader, told me to read this book. He's like, you got to read Heavy by Kris Llama. This book is amazing. So I was like, all right, cool. Mind you, I know people that know him because, we have a platform, right? Nice. So then I was like, I just want to show you what we can do. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to hit up Kris Llama. It might not work. He gets back to me and says, yeah, I'll come talk to your club. I said, bet. So then I tell people, hey, we're reading this book. I haven't read the book yet. I read this book. My cousin, I was like, cousin, I just got Kris Llama. Will you do and shout out to my cousin, Tyreek. Tyreek Wesley. I said it 3 times.
Shout out
Tyreek. I said, Tyreek, will you, he is a great conversationalist. I said, will you host the conversation? Because now I want to, as much as I want to be a creator founder, as we talked earlier, I need to pull myself back. It's kind of like Chris, what he talks about Phil Knight. You have to pull yourself back so your company can launch, right? You're building a community. You're not building just a personal brand. So I move out the way and I say, Tyreek, you're going to run this conversation. KSA comes through. I didn't realize that we literally picked his birthday, and KSA Llama was still like gracious enough to be like, yeah, I'll still come on.
That's crazy.
This we get everybody onto a Nook. We get like 60 people, 70 people.
What's a Nook?
Yeah, we get our audio, real-time audio on our platform. We get 70 people to show up to this room, and I'm like, this is gonna be crazy.
That's what's up.
I was like, team, get ready,
hey,
get ready.
Let's
so
go.
They make sure they get everything right. This conversation goes on. It goes well. Like, I mean, there's like obviously some hiccups when it comes to tech, but for the most part, we get 70 plus people in this room. It's working, and that is just a beautiful thing because it's the same thing. It's that angst. It's like technical angst. I don't know a better word for it. It's like, even though you've done everything, there's that 20% where you're like, we don't know what's about to happen, but I'm excited to figure out what's going to happen.
But you have to get it out there.
But you have to do that as a founder.
Too many people are afraid to get it out there. You have to learn. It doesn't have to be pretty. If you don't get it out there, you don't learn. Our tech today, it got us to 1,150 assignments today, but it might not get us to 5,000. And that's where we understood because we learned from our school partners and from ourselves.
What do they always say? It's like, first you're going to start out and it's going to suck, and then a little bit later it's going to suck a little less, and then ultimately you look up and it doesn't suck anymore. And that's how it is.
I mean, I think another even statement with, I think it came from Y Combinator. I might be wrong, but nevertheless, it's called, or she said that essentially you're always launching. Right. So I think a lot of people think they only launch one time, when they're working on a startup. Yeah, like you're literally always launching. And the crazy part is, you were talking about it, Kyle, and you were saying like there's always these milestones that you reach, right? It's like you build the product, then now once you build the product, you got to get a certain amount of numbers. Then once you get those numbers, then you got to get it at scale. And then once you get it at scale, then you have to be revenue generate. And then, so there's always like I always say, as entrepreneurs, we should have an S on our chest. We should have a cape in the back, all that, because it's from pre-seed to seed to Series A to B, all that. There's different levels. Some rapper said there's different demons at different levels. Whatever the case may be.
New level, new devil.
It's like I think there's a lot of people that sometimes have this assumption where it's like, oh, once I raise capital, everything's going to be better. Once I raise millions of dollars, I'm going to be great. And I can just raise money and we're all set. Nah, it's like those millions of dollars now means a whole new challenge, right? Of scaling or making your tech work very well, or stuff like that, right?
I think you gotta be a little crazy to be an entrepreneur, just slightly, because first off, you get into it because you're like, why not me? Right. And you're already popping off the page. So from anywhere you go from, these new levels, like it's just like you got to be a little off to start with. You can be brilliant. Look at all the ones we can pontificate over, but like a little slightly off.
Yeah, I like that word, pontificate.
I knew you would.
I know, it's literally, as they say, it's literally like jumping off a hill. I mean, jumping off a mountain,
Yep.
assembling a plane on the way down. That's literally entrepreneurship in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, I think Robert Kiyosaki or Elon Musk said that. One of the
It's a fun game.
It was Reid Hoffman.
Reid Hoffman said that too.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy
Elon
it.
said entrepreneurship's like chewing on the glass and staring into the abyss or something like that, which is also
especially
kind of true in entrepreneurship.
like trying to do what Elon is doing. I'm sure that's the fact that what he's been able to do is insane.
But to that, because I saw a clip today on Twitter. They talked about the way he actually does all that is from delegation. That's kind of what I was talking about. Like, you can't be the only face. You can be the face of your company, but you have to delegate. There's no way you're going to be able to build anything great without doing
I like that you brought that up. I want to, and this is not even off topic too, because let's stay on that. I want to get you guys' thoughts on how skilled do you guys feel like when it comes to delegation? Like, is that a skill set that you guys have? Because I'll say for me, I low key, I'm not whatever, but I think that's if anything, like I love building teams. I think that's one of my superpowers, if you want to call it that. I feel like everyone has a superpower, and you got to figure, especially as an entrepreneur, you got to figure out what your strengths are, what your superpowers are. And I love to be able to build a team and just see how different departments work, and then make, and just kind of oversee that and then try to make it grow. Delegation, I feel like is one of my greatest strengths. So, but I'm really interested to see what you like.
I would say I'm very good at it.
Okay, nice.
And,
love it.
And in a good way, not like in a passive. You do it, and I sit over here and play Xbox.
That's a good point.
Not like that. It's and Kyle understands, and I've given him his kudos, and our team, who's amazing. I've been doing a lot of stuff outside of Bookham as well as within Bookham, and if it was only me, like you would stagnate very quickly. But the fact that you say, I have good players or good team who can do what they want to do, and they're good at what they do.
Right.
You just direct them to do it, and we keep the plan in place. Just delegate and say, I can only use in sports terms. If you can shoot the three-pointer, shoot the three-pointer. That's what you do. If you can rebound. In business, if you're a front end, you're in design. That's what you do. Just focus on design. You work with this person when it comes to implementation of it.
Sure.
And that's what it is. And obviously, I take what I have to get done, and I do what I need to get done, so we move everything forward. And I think you have to be good at delegation. What is it, the 4-hour work week, Tim Ferriss? Like, the whole, sorry to spoil the book for you, the moral of the story is delegate.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on delegation?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to delegation, for me, it's all about entrusting the people that you're delegating to and understanding what you're delegating. Before I started Mili Llama, I was a substitute teacher. So now I feel comfortable when I delegate a substitute teacher to classroom manage another classroom for me. I've processed our payroll. I've done our tech review. I've onboarded our subs. I've done the sales calls, gotten the rejections. I've done it all. So I feel comfortable when I ask someone to delegate or that I need to delegate a task to. I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to have that difficult conversation with the school, but you have to be able to do it, learn from it, and grow.
That's a good point. Lead by example.
Yeah, I love that point because it reminds me of this book, Made in America. I think it's Sam Walton. He talks about you need to have enough knowledge to look over someone's shoulder. Like, you may not be always doing the thing, but you should know how a camera works if you're doing a podcast. You should know how mics work. If you're in finance, you know how, lack of better terms, you know what a P&L sheet looks like. You know all these things that then you can say, okay, now I feel comfortable delegating, right? And you have to delegate because it's like, you don't want to milk the cow, so you want to drink the milk, right? And that's where leverage is at, right? If I'm always milking the cow, I'm never going to have time to get the actual benefit, which is the milk, right? And milk is the leverage at a certain point because it creates all the other things that you need. If you are if you're doing all the work, and I know this, to be honest, I do understand it because entrepreneurs, kind of like we're saying, founder, you're the guardian of the soul. You want to feel like you have to do everything.
Sure.
But in order to be great, you have to step back and let people And you have to hire a great team. Like, you have to have a great team where you're like, I know this person is genuinely better at this than me, than anybody else.
And I was going to say, I keep saying great team, and I think you have to have that.
Yeah.
It's number one across the board. I think we all are in consensus on that. For the person who's watching this who has a bad team, delegate what they are good at and peek over their shoulder at time, but give them what they can handle and expect that.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, start looking for people who where are their shortcomings, and start to fill that role there.
To that point, because another book, but they talk about like how PayPal set up. After they broke off from PayPal, they said they would always come to, like, say I'd come to Kris or come to Caleb or Donavan. I say, who's the smartest person you know? And they're like, oh, the smartest person I know is over here. They're like, okay, fine. They'll go take that person out to dinner or go take them out to coffee. And be like, how much do I need to pay you to come work with me or come do this thing, or how do I need to sell you? So I think, to your point, and you may not be able to do it with money, right? There's always going to be some leverage you're going to have to use to get people to come to your team. But you should start asking, who are the smartest people I know? Who's the smartest person? Caleb, if he's my friend. Who's the smartest person you know? Are they working for you? No? Okay, bet. We need to have them to come work with us.
These are the two smartest people I know.
Hey, let's go.
No BS.
Please stop.
And
These are the two smartest people I know.
And I would even add to that too, like, I mean, it's really important to, if you want to scale and build a big business, I mean, delegation is so important, because if you don't delegate, then you're going to have bottleneck issues, right? And, like, unless you want to run a small business, right, then fine, you can be self-employed, right? And you can be the
We're pro small businesses, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm nothing wrong with, being a small business, for sure.
Because we all are still small businesses.
Right. You're right.
I also think this, like, basically, if you're in the CEO role, you should always be recruiting.
Absolutely.
That never turns off, right? You should always be recruiting.
Yeah.
That should be your number one thing.
What would you guys say is the difference between a small business and a business that wants to be big or
Scale.
is
I'll
big?
say there's just the
Scale,
definition of it,
volume.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys feel like it's like a paradigm or like a thought process or whatever that keeps one
I
from
get
a
you.
small
What
business?
would you say when you think small, you stay small?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
but we are pro small. We're pro
No, like,
small business. so.
trust me, I'm pro small business,
Right.
and technically at the moment I'm a small business, but in 15 years, if I'm still a small business, I will be pissed that I'm a small business.
Exactly. Like, never
Yes.
once do I go like I'm a small business, even though like I get it. Like there's real
But if-
frameworks for why people.
But if
say
I
you're
had
a
like
small
Etsy
business,
making
but my
bracelets,
brain-
and I'm content with doing this because I have something else totally different. It's just a small bit.
that's small business.
Which, by the way,
I'm cool with
there's
that.
some small businesses, like I think according to the Webster's Dictionary or whatever, right? Small business can range anywhere between 0 to 500 employees. Last time I
Yeah.
checked.
Oh,
There's a-
really?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
No, you could be
small
small
business
business
can
for a
be
while.
for a long period of time.
Right, and you could be generating millions of dollars even as a small business. So to your point,
overhead.
yeah, just because we, I guess, say small business doesn't necessarily mean you're just like some mom pop shop off Kofax. None against Kofax, but like
Shout out Kofax.
shout out
Yeah, so you will never hear that on another
That was our
business.
first shout out.
I know. I'm saying, like, Kofax forever.
but there's a difference, right? So, and then like a large business, I would say it's probably more of that multinational, 500 plus employees, and then you have like I would say, private equity. You have investors. You're really trying to reach a larger audience of people, of your customers. So, I would say there's really nothing necessarily wrong with that. I kind of want to dive into, what do you guys hope your journey, or how do you guys hope your journey inspires the BIPOC community or BIPOC,
So
other
you say-
BIPOC
you
founders?
BIPOC. You say black. Is any?
These are words and acronyms
I
in
just
terms.
want to make sure.
Elemental P.
However you want to
Anyway.
say it, but yeah, just other black or indigenous or whatever.
Well, no, the
founders.
reason because sometimes you get framed into a box. So that's why I was trying to like.
This
figure
is
out
true.
What you?
Yeah.
Who we're all talking to.
Yeah, I mean, do you?
Especially, no, I'm saying just as specifically as like black founders, you
Sure.
do get framed into boxes. That's why I was like,
For sure.
I want to make sure. Yeah, I think when it comes to entrepreneurship as a whole, but it's specifically to people that look like me.
Sure.
I want people to be like, yo, if Kyle can do it, I don't even know who this kid is. Like, I don't know where he came from, but the way he talks, the way he brings to this table, what he's able to connect. I wanted someone to be like, if he can do it, I definitely can. Like if that guy can do it, that's what I would want. I want it to be somewhere it's like he has a similar story to me or a different story, and he looks like me. I could do it. And then from that, you also want to just make sure you're feeding back into the ecosystem of entrepreneurship. So like when you win, it's like, okay, I'm gonna lift up other Black and brown founders because again, I know how crazy the door is to win. You know what I'm saying? You're already an entrepreneur. Like entrepreneurship is already almost impossible. So if you're literally gonna be a Black and brown founder and still win, then you have to open the door up for the next person.
Do you feel like that is happening though, or is it
people opening the doors?
Like other BIPOC founders opening the doors to the Black community or the underrepresented community? Do you feel like it's expanded more, or do you feel like there was a lack of that back in the days? What are y'all thoughts on that?
Sometimes I feel like people feel like they're on unsettled ground. They don't have their footing fully. So I think they help as much as they can. I don't want to badmouth anyone.
Sure.
But there always could be more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Always could be more.
Like, I think to the point is you get so entrenched into your company that then you're like, I don't even think about that. You kind of to the first part where I'm saying like I just want to be, you want to be an image. Sometimes if you only stay in the image perspective, then you never actually look back to help the people.
Right.
So that's kind of how it goes a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, and MJ is the GOAT and all, but like, I just want to like, also kind of throw that out there is like, do we have people like that level of status like MJ? That is now, of course, I'm sure he's probably doing things behind the scenes. I don't know everything that he's doing, but when I look at the Black community or whatnot, of course, one of the most staple sneakers is Jordans, right? And I look at how much money is being generated, from that, but then I also consider and think like, well, what is that money going back into the community? Is there anything actually, are there like people of that status of MJ that is, reinvesting the billions of dollars that they're making into the community? I'm curious.
I think it's interesting because it's they may be doing, you don't know what they're doing, so I don't want to badmouth what they're doing. Right. And some people don't think about giving back. That's just the way of the world. Some of us do 80-20 rule. Say 20% do and the remaining 80 don't. They're just trying to get to their next win and to their next milestone, which is cool. So all I can think about to your initial question is for me. What will I do?
Yeah, sure.
And I'm in the phase right now is continue to grow. I mean, when you continue to grow and you get to the point, because no one's gonna listen to you if you have no leverage.
That's it.
Like straight up, like no one's. Like how do you build a big company and you don't have a big company? Like I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to someone else.
Who's already done it.
That's what I'm gonna say is like when I get to the point that I've done it. And then now more people, I'll have more listen. It's like, oh, don't listen to me. Go listen to who else have done what we just did. You know. And lucky for us, we have each other. Like as high up as Bookham the Moore Company go, I'll WalletGyde and Mili Llama right there.
Right.
It's like that. And that's got to happen too. Like what's happening around this table needs to happen outside of this table. And how are we helping each other get through the door? Because this is linear. You said this in the car here, so I'm just going to take it. A lot of the time we think vertical integration. Like everyone wants to get help from Oprah. Like we always had this inside joke. It's like, you got Oprah's email yet? Like once Oprah gets on, Oprah's going to plug us. That's vertical. But look at the linear side. Like everyone who's actually where you are, how can we help each other go? And that's where you're trying to get to ultimately. Then, so once more, to finish the point.
Yeah.
I can help and be of value, but I gotta do it first.
Now I want to throw out this mentality, and I'm not singling out this mentality to any like specific demographics, but I want to throw out a mentality called like the crab mentality.
Well, he had a point.
You got a point.
Oh,
Before we get into that,
I was like, where are we going with the crowd?
I'm saying,
Before
bro.
we change though, he had.
I would say I don't.
Then we can still go into it.
On my level, I don't care what the people Oprah and them doing. I like what you just said. I care about the people on who we can influence on our level and below a level below. It's a military thing. You can influence 2 levels up, 2 levels down, and that's how I see myself. So here's a big influence if you're listening here in Denver, Colorado. On January 30th, the Robert Smith Academy is looking for a career day. They're looking for people to support. These are people that we can support at our level who can have entrepreneurs, engineers, financial advisors who can come in there and influence them, because the chances of them meeting Robert Smith himself, very slim. However, for them the chance to meet future or see entrepreneurs like us who are doing it and who can get to Robert Smith's level one day, we can influence them today, and we can touch them today. January 30th, look it up.
Robert Smith,
I'm going to be there.
I'll be there.
Are you going to be there?
Are
you going to be there? Are you going to be there?
I quick plug. I actually taught a class, not a class, but like one of the people I knew from an entrepreneurship program was like, "Yo, I want you to come talk to our students." So they're great kids.
January 30th, sign up.
And I think for that, there's 2 people that do this for me. One is not black, but Robert Smith, obviously, he's from Denver. It's like, oh, if he's from Denver, black, he can do it, I can do it. And then Rachel Carlson, who created the Guild Education, she went to the same K-8 middle school that Kyle and I went to. So I was like, wait, time out. She did it. She had my teachers. I can do it. Those 2 people kind of like, they push my aspiration.
I'm still trying to get an intro into that school as well.
I mean,
we'll talk. Go back to
We'll
what
wrap.
you said.
We'll wrap.
What was the conversation?
I don't want to, I don't want to be the wet blanket. But, actually, even before I even go there, let me actually throw out another.
Be the wet blanket. I'm enticed now.
No. Well, okay, maybe I'll come back to that. But, like, when you guys see people like, because you were saying a great point, and actually you were too, Robert Smith, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, these names, do you guys at all feel, let's say, I won't say intimidated, but do you guys feel like you could do what they've done, or when you see like a success like that, or do you guys, do you run into, thoughts such as like, oh, well, they were able to do this, but I could never do that, or like, sort of like, what are your thought process when you see other very successful billionaires or even just wealthy people? I'm just interested in hearing what you guys' thought processes are.
Entrepreneurship is easy depending on the circumstances that you come from. Mm-hmm. Myself, Habitat for Humanity home, single mom, first person in my family to graduate college. That stuff was hard. Entrepreneurship is easy depending on the circumstances that you can come from. Okay. The biggest advice I have for entrepreneurs, if you have the mental fortitude to make it through, you can do everything else. I've never hired substitute teachers before. I've never ran a gig platform before. I figured that out. However, all the hard stuff, having the hard conversations, it came from mental fortitude. Everything else is easy based off of what you consider hard.
How do you develop that mental fortitude, though?
I need better communication and therapy. That's what I really need. But so that's honestly first is self-awareness, is realizing that a lot of that mental fortitude is because I've shielded myself and a lot of other mental problems. So I would say
military help?
No, daddy issues, my man. That's what it is. That's the real thing that people don't want to talk about when it comes to where you are in life. You have to have self-awareness on any journey you're on. I'm self-aware of some of the shortcomings I have, and I'm working through those every day.
And to that point, like if you're aware of yourself, you're gonna be aware of what you put out there. For most part, most. There's obviously examples that does not fit the criteria, but know thyself, know thy enemy. 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. So know yourself, because what you're putting out. This is. I guess this is not only applies to your business, but like it definitely applies to your business. It's like when you know yourself and like where your shortcomings are and what you're getting better at, it's going to reflect into what you're putting out in the world.
No, I think that's actually very beautiful, because know thyself. I mean, y'all probably already know, like I'm one of those people that have a pretty, I would say, a strong, if you want to say, spiritual background, and even just like philosophical background. And so how I view life in terms of like one person to another, I don't know, like when I see other successful people, just because for me, I don't know, I feel like everyone is, in my opinion, I feel like everyone is created equal. Right? We all have the same brain, two arms for the most part, arms, legs, heart that beats, all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, that person has a brain, I have a brain. You know, they have a heart, I got a heart. Like what? The only difference between that person and I is that person has worked a lot harder than I have and done more to get to where they are. That's it. Like there's no, now of course, you actually even said it too, there could be situationally experiences or things that can make that, you know, a certain entrepreneur succeed more than another. But outside of like that, at the end of the day, like you got to put in that work. You got to know exactly where you're going. You got to know your customer. You got to know your business. You got to then execute essentially, right? So I had a conversation with a friend not too long ago about this topic. So I really wanted to bring it up to kind of get you guys' thought process, because I think that is the issue in our society. A lot of people, when they look at successful people, they look at other, you know, billionaires, millionaires. There's always either, I don't know if it's envy or always people that, you know, have their own thought process of like, oh, well, you know, they were able to do this because they were lucky, or they grew up in a better side of the tracks, or because they have blonde hair, blue eye, whatever, right? But so as a result, I can never do that. And then you look at a guy like, what's his name? He was the Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
Right?
Like reality, or did he play him?
No, I'm talking Frederick Douglass, the actual slave, you know.
Yeah, Doug.
The slave man.
Y'all friends?
That's my homie, bro.
The actual.
Read him once a year for sure.
Yeah, and like, and how, given his circumstances, he was still able to rise.
And that's the thing. I think we come from this, I guess, from speaking from a black perspective, we come from people that have done incredible things, right? Like you're talking, we're not even just talking about American history. We're talking about, you got Mansa Musa and all these people that have like built crazy African empires. And so for you to think,
special cloth,
somehow the same, you talk from a spiritual perspective, the same God or anything you want to say for whatever your religion is,
right,
was able to put that in someone else, to think that you have none of that, and that you can't go do incredible things yourself. Now, it might not be the same things. Like you some people do small things with great love, but you know, sometimes you do the big things, right? And we've been, like I said, we've been talking about Steve Jobs came up a few times, but he also was talking about when he basically says, when you grow up, you tend to get told the world is the way it is. That whole speech, he's like, your job's not, you know, get a good job, all that, he says. But then he says, your life changes when you realize that everything around you, this table, that computer, the ceilings, was made up by people no smarter than you.
Right.
And they had the same ambitions as you. They just believed that they could do it. And the moment you believe that, you'll give up all these other beliefs for why you can't do it.
I'm still in all Kyle points from our drive-in. Sometimes you're just your own worst enemy.
That is true.
Like straight up, like the person that's stopping you the most from accomplishing your goals is you.
Yeah.
Flat out.
And it's not to say there's not gatekeepers, but I'm just saying at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, you know, there's not to say that there, you know, less than 1% of venture funds go to the black community.
I'm not saying there's
so because that is definitely an issue in a handicap.
But that's their loss.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's their loss, straight up. Like if you think about, you're just gonna annex a buyer's market that's over worth $2 trillion of spending power annually. I mean, it's the tale as old as time, but like that, you're missing out on your your portfolio because you're limiting. Like if there's a great woman-owned business or disabled person's business, I'm going to invest in them. If it's doing well, I already said this last pod, but like if it's making green, I do not care.
Do you think that's
maybe I'm mean for saying that, but
situation, honestly, or you know, the unconscious
as long as it's not harming anyone? Let me clarify that.
Or I think, or some sort of agenda. What are you guys' thoughts around that?
That one's tough. Because there's a lot of things that play into it, right?
Right.
Because on one hand, it literally is your network. Like, you're going to, like kind of what we're talking about collaborating. Like, you're going to pick somebody that you know. But I also think it also is just, there is just straight up stereotypes where they're like, this is what an entrepreneur looks like. You know, it's a white male, it's this guy, blah, 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 right? There's these other exceptions. You got Robert Smith, you got Kris, you got Caleb, you got Donavan. These are other people that also have done it. But if I'm going to go bet my future, I'm going to go to MIT, I'm going to go to Harvard, I'm going to go where I know I'm probably going to get investment. All right, I should have said Stanford because that's right in their backyard too. Yeah. So it's like there's proximity, then there's bias, and then there's where you get us as 1% because then they're like, oh, I don't believe in this founder because I've never seen this founder do it outside of these rare occasions.
But it goes back to your original question. Like once these people who have made it through that door, you have to then go back and bring more through. Because once more, it's such a talent pool, and we're gonna look back at this in 2055, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know," because it's stupid. It really, it's truly dumb. And if they miss out, they miss out. But I don't know necessarily. I think the gatekeepers have to let the people in who we gotta excel. Like it just is what it is from BIPOC or woman founders. Like it is what it is. It sucks, but it's true.
It's Ice Cube from Boys in the Hood. He said either they don't know, they don't show, or they don't go. They don't know what's going on here. Sometimes we have to put ourselves on podcasts and different things. Go take other people's leverage, so then they go, "Wow, I didn't know Mili Llama was doing it like that."
I drink your milkshake.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to go use leverage and network and all that. So then you're in that one moment where people are like, "Yeah, that company is what it is, and I do need to invest in them."
Do you feel like the DEI movement is helping this, this initiative?
I'll let Donovan go take that one.
Yeah, because you're probably more in the trenches there than any of us.
Wait, how so?
Do you feel like
schools and all that?
Do you feel like the 1%, the venture fund, how only 1% of the venture fund goes to BIPOC founders? Do you feel like that narrative is starting to change based on like maybe perhaps the DEI movement and people waking up, the numbers, the stats are starting to be a lot more prevalent. People are rising up about it. Do you feel like as a result of all of this, there is policy starting to change around that?
I honestly don't have a good answer for that.
Okay.
I don't think there is a good answer for that.
Okay.
It's one of those. It's a conundrum.
Yeah.
And I'm very right now. Where you find me is very focused on what I can contribute.
For sure.
And the outside world, I'm conforming the universe to my belief system at the moment, and because no one's gonna come save you, Sometimes
Oprah said that, right?
Yeah, but when she said it, she could have saved somebody. At least, but she's got hella schools over in Africa. Like she's saving a lot of people.
That's fair.
Okay. It was all jokes. It was a jokey joke. But the thing is, like, you just focus on what the impact you can provide at the moment. That's my solution, because all this stuff we're gonna be blue in the face and dead because there's no rhyme or reason. But I think people have to seek out the power. The gatekeepers and the people in positions of power had to go seek out those things. They can't just like, oh, I want a magic black company to come find me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we can just like all these people, like all these, you guys have probably, I know you guys have been in it. When you guys apply to something and they deny you. Like when I have my venture studio, God willing, we will talk to those founders. They might have a bad idea, but I like that person. And the fact that you don't even take the time to do that, I'm sure you get inundated in the volume of it. It's probably difficult to do, but like I would do it because I feel like you're missing out on something. Like Caleb, I'm not saying WalletGyde won't work, but Caleb might be better suited in this different company, and then he blows that up. It's because Caleb is who he is. So I don't know. I think that's a little weird. And then if you just count somebody out because of their name or what they look like or where they went to school, I feel like you're just missing out on opportunity. And sometimes opportunity looks very different.
I think the term is what? Social impact or impact funding or something? Impact investing, right? And
shout out Access Bowl.
Right. Yep. What you?
I was gonna say shout out to Zanetta, shout out Kevin.
Shout out.
School Squad.
Right. And so I would say that impact investing is so important to your point, right? Because then it includes the social impact of it, right? And it's not just going through the numbers, right? And your charts is not up and to the right, you know what I mean, and all that sort of stuff. It's more understanding the founder. What sort of impact are they planning to having and solving? And I do see more, I'll say, firms starting to take that route. So I do hope, that definitely becomes a lot more prevalent. So now, I know we've been talking a lot about the other nuanced things. Now let's talk about the actual nitty gritty, right? Let's dive into the product itself, right? Let's talk about some innovation with our products, right? So what would you guys say, what stood out? What kind of standout product features or innovation you introduced in 2024? I would start off with me. I wouldn't say we've quite introduced it yet, but I'll say this, man. Like over 2 to 3 weeks ago, I was literally having a dialogue with ChatGPT. And while I was also having a dialogue with ChatGPT, I've been immersed with all things AI. I'm sure some of you guys have been seeing my texts when I've been sending it y'all way. And there was an aha moment for me that happened. I was like, holy smokes. When Sam Altman and Eric Schmidt said, in the next 2 years, things are about to get weird, that was enough for me to be like, it was a light bulb. I was like, okay, things are about to get weird next 2 years, da-da-da-da. And then as I started like really diving into this AI and like how much AI is, looking to really just take over a lot of what we do, and not necessarily in a bad way, but I would say in terms of facilitating and helping us with our business, one of the key features that I immediately realized to do is to implement an AI feature into WalletGyde. And so this actually about 3 weeks ago, I had the idea, and then I immediately talked to ChatGPT. I gave it my executive summary, and I told it, hey, based off of my executive summary, help me implement an AI feature into my product. And it literally rewrote the whole executive summary with an AI component. I'm saying this thing was so sophisticated. I was like, yo. And what's really interesting too is WalletGyde, we were eventually, I don't know if I told you guys, I did have co-founders in the past. And one of our co-founders was really focused on helping us create I would say, a financial virtual coach. And so this was something that we were planning on doing anyhow down the line, not as soon as like 2025, right? So, but once I started listening to all things AI, and I can sometimes get a little religious about it, I started realizing, holy smokes, this actually not only should be implemented, but it should be one of the most it should be on the forefront of one of our leading, and this is just my personal opinion, features for 2025. And so that I would say has been one of the greatest discoveries for us, for WalletGyde in 2024. And what's really exciting is our UI designers, they're implementing the mock-ups and everything as we speak. So I'm actually really excited about it, because when I was watching AI, I was still excited, even though WalletGyde wasn't really I didn't know how WalletGyde was gonna play in this. I don't know if you guys heard of the term agentic era, but this is like the new era of AI agents in 2025. And I was excited. I was like, okay, because I was already using ChatGPT. I was using all these things to already accelerate my current business operations, right? So I was already benefiting, but not necessarily directly with my product. And then I was like, wait, I can actually implement an AI feature with my own product and have a virtual AI coach that can assist both the clients and the coaches, and have its 24/7 virtual AI coach. And that was like, yo, now I can be not only excited about the AI revolution, but be involved in the excitement. So I'm excited to hear what sort of new innovation and features that you guys have came up with or you're currently doing.
I think we need to do a wellness check on your old former co-founders. Because the way you made it sound, they're like, oh, well, yeah, I used to have them.
He's saying, did you godfather
Yeah, I
them?
was
Did
gonna
you
say,
pray to
like,
them?
where are
What
they?
happened?
No, they're there. They're out there living their lives.
They're not.
Shout out to
swimming with the
Jordan, by the way.
fishes.
Jordan Eliaraga.
Shout out.
He was one of our top marketers, and he helped put us on the map. I mean, they all did a great job, and
I'm just kidding.
Seasons.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's just like ICPs. They change. Sometimes you have to change it up.
Yeah, I'm saying seasons.
Switch it up. I was just making an observation.
Fair enough.
But I think our biggest thing this year is V2. I mean, if I could touch into the AI stuff we got going on, but like V2 is just I've also kind of, for me, I'm kind of the design brain a lot, and I think it's probably toxic. Now I'm saying that out loud. I've seen our design currently for so long, and yes, it just went to market. It's also like it's 2 years old to me, and it's like we need to get up to speed on where I think this should be. Like now we see it has its own thing. So we've revamped it. We got a new designer, shout out Biba, and everything is just different. It looks a lot cleaner. It looks a lot cooler. It's got dark mode. It's got new features coming on. So I think I love falling in love with the product development. Just bringing something to life, and sure that kind of comes with short sides because I always want to be doing that, and you need to get to a point where you're getting people on and you're selling, and there's other pieces of it, and I do enjoy the product development side of it. But that's the biggest thing there. AI, of course, I said this to someone recently, they didn't really like it, but it's here. It's not going anywhere, and if you try to fight it, you're going upstream, and this current it's trains left the station, so it's here. So how do we utilize it? Think about it in terms of assistant within your club. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, not too much.
But there's stuff.
I would say no to the AI thing, because back in the day, I used to always have that thought, like, if we knew the internet was going to be as big as this was, like, why didn't Bitcoin. Why didn't more people participate in it, right? So now you have AI here. It's sitting in your face. You see all the money that's going into it and developing it. And we're entrepreneurs in this time, which is really dope. It's like, how are we going to use AI, right? Because otherwise you're going to sit there and be like, dang, my business went out of business because I didn't use AI when there was there's tools, this. But I also think AI is like, you shouldn't make it your master. It should be a great sparring partner. It should be a form of, how do you continue to use AI to make things more tasteful with your app? Like, I don't think it's important for us just to use AI just to be like, oh, we're an AI company, right? It should have something that makes the experience better for each and every user. And if it doesn't, then you have to ask yourself, what are you going to use the AI for that's actually going to make a difference?
Facts. What about you, Donovan?
Yeah, I would say for us as non-technical founders, our biggest thing was just getting our version 1 out. Being the product manager, being the QA tester, speaking to our users, doing everything but developing the product, just getting the product into the App Store, into the Google Play Store, to see our schools go from taking an hour a day to source substitute teachers. All they have to do is go on our platform, 30 seconds, post the assignments, and our qualified subs fill those assignments. It's just beautiful. I think the big thing for entrepreneurs who are non-technical, we get afraid, but that's the beauty of AI and the information that's out there. You can use Figma designs, as you said, to lay out your framework, to find the developer or the AI or no-code solutions to utilize. You just have to utilize those tools that are out there for you.
And I think getting on the App Store, getting on Google Play is an accomplishment in itself. So congrats to you.
Yeah, congrats.
When you go through that process, it's a thing. So talk about minor victories. That's a minor major victory. So big ups.
Get your MVPs out there. Get out there. It doesn't even have to be an app.
Like fail. Honestly, get out there and fail. Like
fast.
I said, it was like you suck and then you'll stop. And the longer you're in the game, you're just gonna get better. And to your point, like, yes, it is scary, especially from a non-technical side. And it's like it could all be gone tomorrow, and I don't even know what to do to fix it. And we were supposed to work with a dev house, and I don't really like them, but they took money from us, But ultimately, we were talking about it earlier this week. That was probably like a blessing, because once they delivered what they were supposed to deliver, is what we're gonna do with it at that point. Now we've gone through the process of building a team, and it's a different spot. But the thing is, you're in the game. You had the MVP. Now you could take it somewhere. You got to get out there, fail, and success will come. But don't be afraid of failure in the process.
With that being said, I think that's a great transition into actually the next question, right? Because you build the product, right? And then now you want to get people on board into the product. So let me ask you guys, can you guys provide a highlight of strategic partners that you've worked with to help you build, client base, PR, whatnot? And I guess I can start first. And I would say one of the most exciting things, and I'll just keep, I'll just keep raving about it, is, we worked with several strategic partners. Denver Startup Week, I have to keep saying, between Denver Startup Week, if there's any events that you guys want to, you want to talk about an event where you can get the most amount of people, like, to see your product, to see, what you're doing, Denver Startup Week, I would say, is probably one of the best strategic partners to utilize. And so when we did that workshop, it was epic. So between Denver Startup Week and our coaches ourselves, shout out to Holly Murphy. She's one of our top financial coaches. Jordan, she was also on the panel as well that we spoke with, right? So people like, those people, are individual coaches, as well as outside strategic partners like Denver Startup Week, as well as the venue, right, that we're Serendipity Labs, shout out to them, right, that helped us host that event. And then even on top of that, shout out to Amy Sherman, right? I just did a podcast with her with Young Junior Achievement, right? Ex-CEO at Economic Literacy Colorado. So I don't know. For me, it's always been, we were talking about this earlier about bottlenecks, like business is, you cannot do it by yourself, right? And for me, I've always understood that I gotta leverage other people. I gotta be able to collab with other people. I gotta be able to, because at the end of the day, there are other people that are actually low key trying to also accomplish your same mission. I think a lot of us sometimes we can forget. We can be like, I'm the only. But then, like, once you kind of are able to realize, like, oh, wait a minute, I ain't the only one that's trying to, empower people financially. Why don't I partner up with different strategic partners? So I would say those were some of the strategic partners that I've been able to partner up with in 2025. 2024 and 2025, we have some more exciting partners in the works as well. So I'm interested to hear what partners that you guys worked with.
Before Kyle goes, just to your point, like, some people do want to see you win.
Yeah.
It's not super lonely out there. Some people, if you're a good person and you're actually about something, and you're each one of our products is that, like, it's actually beneficial to others, like, people will help you win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would say the biggest partners we've had have been bookstores, authors, creators, and I guess influencers in that sense too. So we've been able to build a lot from those type of connections. Of course they help. That's like and the way I see partnership is like, how do I help you win too, right? It's how do I give you leverage? How can I give you a connection to an author you may never have had for your book club, and how do I benefit you there? Or if it's a bookstore, how can I support, like, this month we've done a book giveaway for like 5 or 6 bookstores that are all independent that might not have had any leverage or any, well, I guess they had leverage, but they may not have had our leverage, right? And they might have not have had our viewership, and we're able to give them some people that can go see their bookstore. So we've been doing that, giving a holiday giveaway each Tuesday of this month. So I try to switch it up and do different things because, again, we're in a space where relationships are everything. So you have to have relationships in different pods.
That's what's up. How about you, Donavan?
Yeah, I would say our biggest partners have been our school partners, not to be cliche or anything, but honestly, once we have found our way of helping them solve their substitute teacher, a principal, Karina in Detroit, when she couldn't find a substitute teacher, she would have to step in the classroom, give up her day. When as a principal, you have over 600 students, busy day, a lot of things to do. When we started our partnership, we brought our substitute teachers in there, took and saved her back that time. She is now one of our biggest partners. She's speaking to investors for us, speaking to other schools as that advocate, because we have been an advocate for her.
Love it. So what do you guys want your business to accomplish? Now we're going to transition into the goals and visions for 2025. What would you guys be excited about seeing your business accomplish in 2025? I can start off with me. You know, as I mentioned, I'm raving about the AI, and I'm not joking. And I definitely see us. Matter of fact, in Q1, we do have goals to implement our virtual AI feature into WalletGyde by the end of this year. We've actually moved from a no-code solution bubble, you know, and we're finalizing our actual, you know, I would say platform. We're getting ready to launch by the end of this year, so that's going to be exciting once we do that. Finally get online. Live, right? Start doing some onboarding. So Q1, that's going to be one of our focus. You know, getting our app, or I'll say our web mobile responsive platform live, getting people onboarded, as well as implementing new AI features into what we're doing, and then eventually scaling and raising capital. So 2025, especially with our AI feature, especially understanding how important AI is going to be in 2025, leading with that, I think is going to be one of the most exciting opportunities for us to raise capital. So I would say that's one of our major goals for sure. I mean, of course, we're all wanting to raise capital. And then also even doing workshops, you know, that, you know, when we ended up with Denver Startup Week doing that workshop, it just opened up a lot of opportunities. Matter of fact, next month I've been invited to speak at Greeley. Shout out to them. And
Is that the Generator program?
Yeah, the Generator.
Shout out Generator.
You're right, yeah. Allie is her name. So I've been invited to speak, do another workshop at their organization. So stuff like that, you know, doing more workshops, of course, having progress with our product, increasing our strategic partners, raising capital. These are all super major focuses that we have locked in. Building our team, you know, getting the actual, you know, building our team. So I would say these are key things that we're really focused on in 2025, but there's nothing more exciting other than the raising of the capital. That's a huge goal. But really AI for us is one of our major focus for 2025, our virtual financial coach assistant. It's like, imagine having like a ChatGPT, but a finance ChatGPT that could literally walk you through everything that you need to know about your personal finance.
Yes, that's what we're working with. I didn't know it's coming. Mine's the same. I want to build the best company possible, serve our customers at the highest level. That's what it is. And then, like, literally build the greatest product we can build and serve our customers at the highest level. That's literally my only focus for 2025. Everything else is going to plan out as it should.
Love it. Donovan.
Two big things. Fill 10,000 assignments in 2025.
You got it.
Second big thing, we are launching our new platform March 3rd. That's our biggest thing. We want to get out, build a more foundation that we can grow on and prep for to get to those 10,000 assignments.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I know Yep.
I was going to say, obviously, raise capital, get more users on, specifically more club hosts, creators, and just continue to tell good conversations. Roll out V2, so it just looks the aesthetic of what we're bringing out. And, I think I'm excited for it. I'm truly excited for all of us in 2025 because we're going to stay at it. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going anywhere.
Look.
Not going anywhere.
Nope.
What's one thing y'all learned in 2024 that you won't carry into 2025?
That I won't carry?
That you won't carry.
That's a good question.
Won't carry.
Something that you learned this year that you won't carry.
I learned to get over stuff.
No, personal, because personal relates to business. Business relates to your personal life.
Just don't carry unnecessary
baggage.
weight. Yeah, like stuff like contention. If someone did you wrong, or there's no need to like carry
bring out that group chat.
Let it go.
I'm saying, like, don't be afraid to say I'm sorry. Like, I messed up. That's a lesson I am taking with me. But like the other side, just it's all good. Keep it pushing.
What I've kind of learned is I feel like I'm so inundated with all this information, so I learn all these things, right? But I feel like I'm not retaining it as much anymore. So I really want to go back to the basics and like get a pen and paper. I have 5-star notebook like you would in high school. I write down it and I review it every Sunday. I just want to get way better at like learning all the information because I hear so many good things. I'm like, I just need to have this memorized.
Sure.
Kyle was
That's
Phi
very
Beta
simple.
Kappa, by the way, so that's very nerdy of
I
him
know
to
it's
be
not
like,
even a great
I'm gonna go
answer,
back
but
to
it's-
school myself.
No, I'm just like, I know it's not even a great answer, but I just need to get better. Because then it's just gonna make me more.
He's a
dangerous,
smart kid.
'cause,
He's a
like,
nerd. He's
yeah,
good.
like that would be really helpful.
To your point, no, like there is, I do feel like if there's anything that AI has actually kind of done is it's kind of created an overabundance of information, right? So there is that. And to your point, memory is probably going to be one of the most important thing. Like remember all the insights and the abundance of information that we've gotten is going to be something super important. I've learned. Are you guys familiar with Notebook LLM? It's Google's
I've heard of Notebook
it's
LLM.
Google's new way to record notes and stuff like that. So I am also, to your point, trying to see how I can use AI to help store memory and help me become much more efficient, but also remember all the insights and information that it's throwing at me. So that is important. I would say one of the things, or your question was, what did we learn that
You would not.
we don't
not
want
take it with you?
to? Well, so I mean, I don't. This is an interesting, I'll say, question.
I move the mic and everything.
I would say it's
He's like, I'm perfect as is.
This is an interesting question. Yeah. I'm sure I learned a lot this year in 2024. 2024 was definitely quite a year. And as I reflect on it, look, for me, I'm just happy to still be kicking. You know what I'm saying? In a sense
to
of
that.
now,
for
and I mean, I'm not saying I didn't have any successes. I mean, we had a lot of success. We had multiple podcasts. We went we went to so many different finalists of programs for WalletGyde, and we hosted our own program, and we did product developments, and so we were able to do make progress. But of course, what we didn't do was raise capital, right? And I'm sure, as you guys probably know, like every year, that's the goal. That's everything we're trying to do is to raise capital. And since we didn't raise that capital, that can seem like a failure. But for me, it's like, I'm always looking to learn and see, what are investors looking for? What do I need to do within my own business to, get them to finally write that check, right? So 2025, that's my main focus of like really honing in, looking into the investor market landscape, seeing what are the trends in the investor market landscape, right? And then really going from there. So yeah, it looks like we're basically at this point winding down, aren't we?
Rapid fire, right?
Rapid
Nah,
fire.
this lady might
I
be-
don't know. Do we even have enough time for rapid fire, or
Yeah, she says she gave us 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I think.
5 minutes?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so
They ain't not
so
gonna shut us down.
we have more time for
Fed's always
You
watching.
can kill this part anyways.
rapid fire. Let's go
Editor
with the
note.
rapid
The
fire.
Fed's always watching, though. If you want to keep that, keep that.
Okay, so what's one product feature you're personally obsessed with?
I love Nooks, man.
Yeah,
Rapid
Nooks.
fire.
I am a big
Nooks.
Nook because we have video Nook. You can do live streaming. You can do reading time with your friends. Nooks.
Book notes.
Book notes. That's coming next. But
Nice.
I love Nooks. Nooks are dope.
Yeah, we were running
And
a
they're
Nook
just
here.
real time audio podcasts, and so you can just have like these conversations, but more book focused.
Yeah, Donovan.
I'm just happy our app is out and working.
Perfect.
MVP is out there. Get
That's
your
what's
app
up.
out there.
Yep. Yeah.
Book notes are coming. That's what I'm most excited about.
I'm most excited about the AI feature that we're gonna release. It's not quite out yet, so that is a big deal of mine. Okay, so describe your most aha moments this year in one sentence. I'll say AI.
I will say conversation with your customers.
I would say a lot of assignments failed.
What was the question? I need to hear it in full.
Describe your most aha moments this year in one sentence.
It's tough. That's how you
Actually, I'm going to change my answer
Yeah,
then.
go ahead.
The school secretary, Tracy, she said we save her an hour every day. That was our most aha moment.
Nice.
I would say creators are dope because they do exceptional things. So keep it simple.
That's what's up.
Trust your creators.
If your product could talk, what would it say and how? What would it say about you as its founder?
You should have learned how to code yourself.
Did you read that book? And yeah, well, I don't know what they would. I don't know what it would say about us.
You should be your financial coach.
Yeah, read more.
Like it. Favorite productivity tool or hack you've discovered in 2024? So I've discovered, when I use Zoom AI, it does the transcription. And so what I'll do is I'll take the Zoom AI transcription, throw it into ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT based on our meeting notes, create deliverables, create emails, create end of the week, follow-ups, create everything just based off of one Zoom AI notes. That's been one of the most exciting hacks that I've been able to do so
Google
far.
Task has been great for me because I'm just like, I can just like by via email. I'm just like, yeah, do this, do that by this date.
Nice.
Calendly, with a lot of substitute teacher interviews, school partner interviews, definitely Calendly, shout out.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say either Canva, because you can do, like, what I do though is I take all of my video clips and like throw it into this machine and it produces like a bunch of them, and then I can see if I like any of them. But there's also Opus AI does the same thing. So there's like a bunch that can do it. But I think if you're doing long form content and you want to turn it into short form content, those have been really helpful.
One thing you're leaving behind in 2024 to make room for growth in 2025.
We kind of already answered that one.
Yeah, we did. So dream vacation spot to recharge after hitting your 2025 milestones.
That's good.
Bali.
Okay.
Going back to the motherland, Mexico.
All right. Let me, goodness, there's so many good places. You know what? I was talking to someone, they said Seychelles was nice. So I'll just go
Where?
there.
Seashells down by the
Africa.
seashore.
Yeah, I know.
What?
Seychelles. It's a place in Africa. It's like a nice
Okay.
little island.
It's an island nation.
He said kind of is like, he said it reminds him of Bali. So I'm like, shoot, I want to see what is down there. So
Well,
switch it
I
up.
would say Mexico, since, there might be a reason for that.
I know this man is so. My God, real cryptic. So yeah, I'm just saying.
Don't
I
speak
might
on
go
the
to Mexico.
motherland.
I know what.
I might go to Mexico.
Okay, no, I think then that would mean at this point that we've reached our conclusion. Would you guys say anything else in the trenches part 2 that you guys have?
Well, yeah, I will say this, and I'll reiterate it. I said it earlier. Don't quit. Like literally straight up, just keep
Yeah,
going.
trench-
Like you're already in
Mental
it.
fortitude.
I'm saying
mental warfare.
we were here earlier this year. We're here right now. When
Yep.
we do this again later on in 2025, we'll do it again later on in 25. After that, we will be in the game. We will be in the game, and we're gonna have so much growth from now until then.
Exactly.
Just stay in the game. Like when you only lose if you quit.
That's
So
right.
I would say my note to people in the trenches is to be obsessed a little bit, right? Because again, especially in the beginning, you're trying to launch something. You're gonna have to dedicate time, hours, resources, energy, willpower, all of it. And the more you can cut out distractions and be obsessed, that doesn't mean you give up anything personal, right? I think founders, sometimes we think we got to just be all in it and forget about everybody else. Like, you should still keep your friendships, you should still go drink water, you should still go exercise.
Water?
And in the meantime, you
Tonic
should be
water.
crazy obsessed with what you're building, because no one else is going to have the energy to do it like you do. So it's the fortitude.
Man, I would say with all this information that we're getting out there, you can Google AI, and it's great. It's going to help a lot of us be more productive. But the big thing to remember is the research is free. The work is what actually costs. So you can get all this information, but if you're not willing to go out there and do the work once you have the information, your company is not going to grow. So the
Awesome.
research is free. The work is the part that costs.
Awesome. And I would say, hey, look, find some people like the people we got on this podcast. Hey, all right, over and out.